Hello everyone, welcome to Software Testing Expert Talk series. Today we have a guest who is handling a team lead QA automation role at one of the prestigious organizations across the world. He is a dynamic and techno-functional professional with nearly a decade of experience in the arena of QA solutions. He has worked on a myriad of assignments with companies and projects under various domains, mainly involved in building robust test automation solution from scratch. He is also a founder of community-driven co-writing space named as Synapse QA that connects talented writers from the tech industry under one platform. I believe now you must have got an idea who is our guest for today's STET session. I will not take any more time in introducing our guest for today's STET session, and our guest is none other than Nithin from Synapse QA. Welcome to our show, Nithin.
Thank you so much, Ajay, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you
Right.
so much for the opportunity for having me here. And I would like to thank the whole team of QA folks also for this opportunity.
Thanks, Nithin. Nice. Today, Nithin will talk about mobile performance testing tool named as Apptim. Let's hear from him directly. Over to you, Nithin.
All right, thanks, Ajay. Let me share my screen.
Please go ahead.
Cool, perfect. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, hello everyone. So let me introduce myself first. Ajay has given us a wonderful introduction about myself. So, but I just give a brief intro about myself. So myself, Nithin, as you already know, and I'm currently living in Malaysia. I was born and raised in India, where I started my career in testing. Right now, I'm fortunate enough to continue my passion by leading a bunch of like-minded testers in FAVE and building a community-driven co-writing space for testers called Synapse QA, like Ajay mentioned. So you can find my social media handles over here, and feel free to reach out if there is anything. So let's get started. So today I'm going to talk about mobile app performance testing, and I'm going to introduce you all to a tool called Apptim, which helps us to do mobile app performance testing. First of all, before start, first thing first, right? So we need to understand what a mobile app is, and then the importance of mobile app performance testing, and then we will deep dive into Apptim and see its capabilities and performance. So what is a mobile app? We all use mobile app in our currently everything is available in the mobile, and most of our applications are available in mobile also. So you all already know that the definition of mobile app is something which is installed in your mobile and it runs across your mobile device. So when it comes to types of mobile apps, we have mainly three types of mobile apps. One is native apps, and the other one is web apps, and the third one is a hybrid app. So native apps is the one if we all are using WhatsApp, Facebook, those kind of applications. Those are native apps. So it is specifically created for a platform or an operating system. So native apps for Android will work only in Android, and native apps for iOS will work only in iOS. That's how they are developed. And technology used to develop native apps are coded using Java, Kotlin, C#, Swift, etc. So Java and Kotlin is mainly for Android apps, and Swift is mainly used for iOS apps. And let's see the pros and cons of native apps, right? So when it comes to native apps, the pros are it is faster and better in terms of performance. And since it is having a native UI, it is optimized for the maximum user experience, and it will be able to access all the device features, kind like camera, location, all those sort of things. And when it comes to the cons, every time when there is an update, we need to download that and update the application. And when it comes to the development side, it is having higher maintenance costs. And also when we install the application, it actually consumes more device space because it is installed in your device memory. So the next one is web apps. So web apps are basically applications which is hosted in the mobile browser itself. So we can say it is responsive versions of the website which can be added into our mobile app. One of the kind of web application is progressive web app. You can see some of the web applications when you open in the browser, there will be three dots. You can see that, and there will be an option add to home screen. When you add it to a home screen, it actually becomes a progressive web application, which actually behaves as the exact web application. And it will be similar to native app, but it is entirely different. It is a responsive app hosted in your mobile. The technologies which they are used to develop web applications is HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, Ruby, etc., etc. So let's see pros and cons of web apps. So since it is web-based, it works on all devices. There is no platform dependency for it. Less maintenance and development costs. Why? Because since it is common for both the platforms, we can use similar lines of code for both platforms, and the development cost actually decreases because of that. Since it is not a installation file, it consumes less space in our device. And when it comes to cons, it actually depends on browser. So it is not a native app, uh, and it is driven by the browser of the mobile, in the mobile. It needs internet, and hardware integrations depends on the app features. Not every hardware integration will be available for all the progressive web applications. And the third one is hybrid application. So hybrid apps are the combination of both native and web apps. So previously we saw about native apps and web apps, and now comes hybrid apps. So in hybrid apps, actually what they does is it will be a native app by default, and there will be some features of web apps integrated within it. It acts like a wrapper. We can say, for example, when we compare it to web applications, we can say one HTML page will have another HTML page wrapped into it, right? So it is similar to that. It will be a combination of both. So they have home screen app icon, and it will be having a responsive design, and it will have much more faster performance compared to web applications. And even it will be available offline, and they look more or less same like native applications. Mostly the technologies used are Objective-C, Swift, and HTML5. So let's see the pros and cons of hybrid apps. So those are quicker and economical ones. It loads quickly, and it requires less code to maintain. When it comes to cons, might lack power and speed, lower than native apps. Certain features might not be usable on devices. So after seeing all these pros and cons, you will be able to know which one will be the better. And since mobile apps are getting prominent importance nowadays, most of the companies will go for ideally native apps. And yeah, that's it about the basics of mobile apps. And now let's take a look on mobile app performance testing. So for any mobile app, performance is a critical factor. If your app does not perform well in terms of performance, the user will uninstall the application. So me, myself, if I am using an application and it is not showing, like it is taking 10 seconds to load something, if it is taking 5 minutes to show something, then I will definitely uninstall the application. I won't continue to use it. So it is similar end user behavior. So every end user will have like expectations in terms of app. They lack patience, right? So we need to ensure that all our apps performs well in terms of performance. So how brilliant we build the feature doesn't matter when it comes to performance issues. So mobile app performance refers to how an application behaves under various circumstances and loads. Actually, is depending on three factors, three main factors. One is the backend, and the second one is the network, and the third one is the device itself. Before jumping into these three factors, let's see the objectives of mobile performance testing. So we need to ensure that how the performance of the application will look like when during big workloads. And the second one is we need to determine the capacity of the application. And the third one is evaluate app's performance under critical conditions. And then we need to evaluate the hardware usage. And also we need to measure and access the performance of the app on the protocol level. So these are the 5 important objectives which we need to take care when it comes to mobile app performance testing. So strategy, right? So whenever we perform testing on something, we will go for test plans or test strategies. So this time we are giving importance to mobile app performance. So the strategy will look like this. Align test objectives and business requirements. Why we need to do that is there are certain metrics which we will be looking into when it comes to performance testing. But we need to map those metrics with business requirements. Not all, not every metrics will be applicable in terms of business requirements. So we need to prioritize what all metrics is required in terms of our business. So we need to align all the objectives which are with our business requirements. That is the most important thing. And then identify the KPIs. So important KPIs in performance is error rate, maximum response time, average response time, peak number of responses and requests, average throughput, and number of concurrent users per device and OS. And also we need to prioritize the scenarios. So there will be tons of scenarios which we will be having when it comes to testing. So we need to prioritize the most business critical functionalities and then evaluate the performance for those features first. And also two key parameters when it comes to mobile performance is latency and bandwidth. So we need to include those two parameters in our strategy as well. And then always when we are doing mobile app performance testing, try to simulate a real life testing environment. If we are not trying to simulate the real life environment, even though we are doing testing for it, it won't be giving us the expected outcome. So then the last one, my favorite, collaborate with your developers. So developers will have more context when it comes to the application architecture and the performance side. So we have to collaborate with our developers in terms of identifying these metrics and discuss with them. More the collaboration is, more better will your test strategy will look like. Let's see the three factors, right? So the first one is the backend. When you might be already aware of, we do backend performance testing using JMeter, BlazeMeter, Taurus, Gatling, etc., etc. So what it says is when the app is interacting with the server, we need to understand the response time and evaluate how our response time is, how specific our response time is. And the things to consider is data to and from our server, number of API calls which is generated, whether we are having any downtime on the server, and how we implement our escalation policies. So these are the main factors which we need to consider. And the tools, like what I said before, we have JMeter, Gatling, BlazeMeter, K6, etc., etc., for evaluating backend performance. So previously, mostly all of the companies were focused on this server performance evaluation only, and client-side performance was less considered. And now, when we come to nowadays, it is actually gaining prominent importance because mobile apps are booming, and we need to evaluate client-side performance as well. The second main factor is network. So mobile apps, all our mobile apps is depending on network. So we need to ensure that our app is performing well using different network combinations. So we have 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G is also coming well in terms of network connectivity. So in network connectivity, the two main factors which we need to consider we need to measure is the latency and bandwidth. So latency is the time that elapses when the information is sent through the network. So lower the bandwidth, and bandwidth is the maximum capacity that can be transmitted through the network. Higher the bandwidth, it's the better. And finally, we come to the important point, the client. So testing client-side performance allows us to understand how the app behaves on a device and how it uses the resources that is shared with other apps. When we evaluate performance from client side, the key matrices which we need to identify is device resource usage, rendering, errors, and response time. So in device resource usage, the things which we need to evaluate is the percentage usage of our CPU, memory, data sent and received by the application while we are interacting with it, and also the percentage of battery usage. The second factor is rendering. So rendering measures how the app is drawn on the device. When we are performing some interactions, how it behaves. So that is what rendering means. And we evaluate rendering time, frames per second, rendering lag, and the third one is errors. So there will be exceptions. And in case of Android, there will be application not responding. So if your application is not responding for 5 seconds, Android applications will trigger an alert saying that either to force quit or close the application. So that is application not responding error. And we also will have crashes. The last one is response time, so the time taken to complete an application. So it depends on server response time, database response time, our network latency, screen drawing time, and there are two other factors which we need to look into as important. So one is app startup time and how our app behaves in the background. So imagine if you are using one of your applications, say Facebook, and you are browsing through Facebook, and meanwhile you are getting a call from your friend. After attending the call, when you go back to Facebook, how it behaves, either it's crash or either it closes the application or some kind of error is shown or something like that. So those all things also we need to consider when it comes to performance, mobile apps performance testing. So these are the four usual problems which we can detect when we focus on performance testing of mobile applications. The first one is memory leak, and the second one is screen freezing, and the third one is crashes, and also startup and transactional issues. So all these performance testing aspects actually allows our product owners to measure the performance of the system as the number of concurrent users against the number of concurrent users, and we can evaluate how our system or how our application behaves when there is a huge demand or huge interaction from the users happening. So also, as testers, we will be able to understand the response times, the system's resource consumption, and all those factors. And it will give us a holistic view of the architecture of our application itself. So now let's see what Apptim is, right? So Apptim is a one-stop place for most comprehensive mobile app performance tests. So we can call it as a performance tuner, as it runs deep performance analysis when we are doing a functional test. It actually captures our response times, resource consumption, which includes CPU, memory, data transfer, rendering, database, etc. It actually, and by the end of the session, it actually generates a report which gives us a comprehensive overview on all these factors and will also suggest us with the improvements which we need to do. With Apptim, you can test all your native apps, and you can also compare the performance over time to time. So let's see the features. it helps us with native app testing. It gives detailed performance and bug reports. There is a out-of-the-box Jira integration, and it is easy to use. Session comparison feature is available. So if we have multiple versions of the app being released to production, we can do testing in different versions, and we can compare these sessions together. It will give us insights on when it comes to benchmarking of your application and all. You can have a benchmark version against which you can compare the other versions. So then the main advantage is you can do performance testing along with your functional tests. There is CI/CD integration using Apptim CLI tool, and also there are enhanced capabilities, custom threshold, and also a feature called Apptim Marks. So Apptim Marks is capture the event which you need to track. So say for an e-commerce application, you need to identify how long it takes for a user to complete add to cart functionality. So we can create a start mark and stop mark in our code. And then while running the test, Apptim will capture the time taken between these two interactions, how long it takes to add to cart. So there are three main versions available for Apptim. So the first one is Apptim desktop version, and the second one is Apptim cloud or the CLI tool, and the last one is an in-house agent for the enterprise solution. So if you are a banking application or an insurance company or something, you can have a in-house Apptim solution which will help you to run performance tests and functional tests together. So I said comprehensive reports, right? So let's see what all will be the blocks which we can see in the reports. So there will be screen recording of the device. So once we finish the test, we can see the screen recording exactly showing us all the interactions which we performed, and it will have alerts and warnings related to the user experience attributes. Alerts and warnings related to the usage of device resources will be there. Crashes and exception details will be there. Logs and downloadable artifacts will be there. Along with all these, it will also provide suggestions to improve. So the next block is actually a deep dive. We will be going through a live demo of Apptim's desktop tool. So we will have a UI walkthrough. I will take you through the installation process, and we will have a test execution for one of the app. We will evaluate the report, and we will see how it works with Android simulator, because not every one of us will be able to buy devices, right? So we will be sometimes performing our tests in simulators, so we can see how it behaves in Android simulator. But it is advisable to do tests in real devices, because performance metrics is highly depending on your real device resources. And then we will see how screenshotting, video capture, bug reporting works. And we will also go through report. And there is a Jumbo app report provided by Apptim itself. We will also go through that. That will be the first section of our demo. And the second section will be Apptim CLI tool, in which I will be taking you through the YML configuration, and we will see how we can run our automated tests against AWS device farm using Apptim. So while running the functional automated test, we will be capturing performance metrics also, and Apptim will provide both these reports together, our functional test report, and we can also see performance report together. And there are three main options. We can run test in multiple devices, and also we can run single device test, and also we can use device pool. We will also discuss about the advantages, and we will evaluate the report like same as before. And yeah, so you can try out Apptim after seeing the demo. It is actually very helpful tool when it comes to mobile app performance testing. Without much knowledge, anyone like juniors and even seniors can perform testing using Apptim. So In order to get a more overview on how Apptim behaves and works, you can go to blog.apptim.com. There are a lot of articles, well-written articles on performance testing and Apptim. And also, if you are stuck, you can reach out to help.apptim.com. And also, there is an email ID. And feel free to DM me also, because I actually worked with Apptim a lot. And then there are interesting tutorials in YouTube where you can see the tutorials from the following link: bit.ly Apptim YouTube. Yep, let's go deeper and see how we can make use of Apptim when it comes to mobile app performance testing. Ajay, please let me know if you are able to see my Apptim screen. Okay.
For sure. I can see Apptim.
You can see Apptim, right?
Right.
Okay. But you are not able to see my mobile. Yeah. Now you will be able to see my device also.
Yeah, I can see that.
Perfect. So you can ignore the watermark over here because I am using a free version.
All right.
All right. So yeah, so once we install Apptim, actually this won't be the UI. I already installed Apptim a long time ago. So once you are installing it for the first time, the first screen you will be seeing is Apptim will automatically ask you to install the dependencies, and it will suggest all the dependencies which is needed to be installed, and you can click on the button install dependencies. So once you click, it will automatically install all the dependencies. You don't need to worry about the dependencies by installing manually yourself. So it will take care all the installation by itself. And once we are finished with the installation, then we will be redirected to this screen, start at new test, and also we will have option called test sessions. So this section we can come later, and also you can see settings option, and there will be a workspace option. If you are logged in, you can see a workspace option, and by default it will be pointing to your default workspace. Also, you can create team workspaces where you can run tests for your mobile applications, and you can invite your developers and other testers to view the reports. And when you are running a test, actually, you can select the workspace default. And let's start a new test. So once you click on that, it will actually detect the devices which is connected to your laptop. So we have one ASUS device and I have one iPhone 6 connected. So once we proceed with that, it will fetch all the applications installed in your mobile device, and we can select which application against which we need to run the performance test. So I have an Apptim's demo application with me. So I'm taking that. So then it will ask you which session you want. So 10-minute session is there by default, and 30-minute session will be available. And it will be available with a trial version, and you can also upgrade your account to get this 30 minutes session available to you. So here we need to name the session. So one thing to take care is you need to ensure that your mobile device is connected using your USB. If it is disconnected, Apptim won't be able to capture the performance metrics while you are performing the functional testing for your application. So here you can see the application. It's a very simple application. Uh, so we have a list of devices over here, and there is a filter to choose phone. And then we can select laptop, and also there is monitor option, which filters based on that. And then there is a cart functionality. If you click on cart, you can see items in the cart. So now we don't have any items in the cart. That is why it is empty. So once I click on any of the product, it will open up the product detail view. I can add to cart. So now the item is added to cart. Let's see whether it is added into the cart. Yes, it is there. So when this application don't have the purchase flow, so we are removing the item from the cart, and I'm just going back. So let's see other functionalities which we have in Apptim desktop itself, right? So we have a feature called, so here you can see what device you are running the test against, and which app you are using, and how many bugs you reported, and the time elapsed for the test. And also you could see a report bug functionality over here. So while running the functional test, if we are encountering any of the bugs, we can actually report that bug along with the test session. So if I am clicking that, it will take me to another screen where I need to provide the bug title. Uh, I can provide tag also. So it will by default attach a screenshot based on the latest interaction which we performed. We can also edit the screenshot from here. So it will be this one. If you don't want that, you can discard, and also can add shape. You can highlight things. You can crop exactly like same like we use for same like we perform other bug reporting. So I am saving it and I click on continue. So it will redirect me back to the session, main section. So you can see bug reported as number one. And there is also a feature called taking notes in between. So imagine while performing the testing, you saw that when you click Samsung Galaxy, there was a delay. So you want to highlight that as a risk. So we'll be saying Samsung Galaxy was having a delay to load. Also, we will attach a screenshot and say, so we have one of our node created and we add it as a risk. Now I am adding that Samsung Galaxy again to my cart. You can see item added to cart. I'm going here. So yeah, let's end this session and we come back later to see other capabilities. So I'm ending this session. Yeah, please do make sure that your USB is connected because this is the time where Apptim captures all the data. And you can see in the background that app is closed. And now we are generating the report. So you can see our test duration. We were actually doing functional testing. We didn't know that something is running in the background. We just connected our device using USB and Apptim was running in the background and we were performing functional tests, right? And you can see the bug which we reported. I think it's still loading. Okay, done. So here we can see two options. One is to view open the local report, which will be opening within the Apptim desktop version. And you can also see publish to workspace. It will publish the report to our workspace, which is hosted in the cloud. I will click that. So it will publish there also. So here also we can see the bug report in local, and also there is an integration with Jira. So in order to integrate with Jira, we need to set up Jira. So I'm just opening the report which we have. So we can see that exactly when we took when we reported the bug, the screenshot was captured, and you can see what was the description which we provided, and the title will be here, and also it will mention about the time frame which we found the bug. And let's see the detailed session report. Okay, so here we have the CPU usage, memory usage, frames per second, and the errors and exceptions if there were any. And you can also see the video, which is actually explaining our testing process. You can see what all are the interactions which we performed in the application. And then, so this is the summary. So this in this section, we will actually see the warnings, moderate alerts and low alerts. So here you can see market limit. There was a heap memory issue which happened, and then it gives all the other items were passed. Our session was lasting 3 minutes 59 seconds. So this is our resource usage. You can see the maximum power usage, frames per second, 80% was having here during 30 seconds. And then there was this total memory consumption over here. And then there was CPU usage. So we can filter the items from here. So if you just need storage, we can use this. So this is our storage, available storage, and this is how our app performed. And then we can see other details also. And in the next tab, you can see the environment details, which was our Android version or any OS version, and our manufacturer information, and also the screen information and all the compatibility, everything will be captured. And you can see the activities, UI controls, how many controls we had in our screen, and how many nested layouts were there. And also we can see about application not responding error. So there was no application not responding error happened. There were no crashes reported. We only had one bug report, which was simulated by me only. And then there will be logs. So these are the logs. If once we complete with the session, if we need to share this with our developers, we can download all these detailed logs if they want to dig deeper into the performance test reports. So we can provide these logs to them. It will be easier for them to debug. And also we can share this report with them from our cloud. So now I'm going back. Let's see my cloud version. Ajay, are you seeing my console, Apptim console?
Yeah, I can see that. So you have opened console.apptim.com. Is that so?
Yep, correct.
All right, all right.
Okay, so here we have two workspaces. One is my default workspace and the other one is my team workspace. So in team workspace, I will have the result of all my automation runs, which I configured. And in my default workspace is the space where I pushed our test results. So you can see Apptim over here. And from here, you can get a share link, and you can share this link with any of your developers or your product owners or other testers also for them to see the performance test report. And once we click on that, it will be the same report which we saw in Apptim desktop version. Okay, so now let's go back to this and we see other functionalities. And again, I'm selecting as use. You can see my device as well. I'm selecting Apptim, a 10-minute session. We cover for STT2. All right, perfect. So now we are in the app page. The same thing I'm performing again. I'm filtering phones. I'm selecting iPhone. I just add it to cart. And I'm selecting HTC, add it to cart. Okay, so here you can see a tab called bugs. So this, since it is a demo application, they actually simulated all the issues which can occur in real time. So here I'm doing a force ANR, application not responding. Once I click on that, it will do a force ANR. So this application won't be interactable anymore. So I was trying to click back, nothing happens. You can see that ANR, so it took 5 seconds approximately. So it then generated the ANR pop-up. Okay, I'm closing this app. Since it is generated, I'm ending the session. So our session duration was 130. All the other things are 0 because we didn't create anything. Cool, our report is available. So here you can see one error and exception log. It is taking time to load. If you go here, you can see we triggered one application not responding error. You can see ANR CPU usage dump error here, and all the details will be provided over here. So this will be helpful for our developers, and it will actually give which activity triggered the error. And we can also see the screen like this. And here you can see, since we triggered a ANR, in the summary, it will capture all the details. So there was an uploaded, high level uploaded data was there, high level downloaded data was there, there was ANR CPU usage dump was there, and we exceeded the market limit of average heap memory usage. Okay, now let's go back. Cool. So that's how when we perform functional testing for our application, if we are running Apptim in the background, it actually captures all the details and generate this comprehensive report, which we could use for optimizing our app for in terms of user experience. So here we can see the next option, which is test sessions. Once we click on that, you can see the sessions which I executed. So here I am comparing these two sessions. Okay, cool. So I'm on a free plan, so I cannot compare the sessions. If ours is a paid plan, then we can actually compare these two sessions.
All right.
So compare when it comes to comparison, so imagine that this will be one of your versions will be your benchmark version, and you can compare with the second version. So how the second version of the app behaves in terms of user experience. All right, cool. And now let me show you one of the applications. So Ajay, you're seeing the Jumbo app report, right?
I can see that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So why it is called Jumbo app is because this was one of the app with more controls on the screen. You can see that here.
Mhm.
So there are many UI components in the home page itself, and it looks too congested over here. So that is why they call it as Jumbo app. And then, so this app actually, when there was a session which lasted for 148, then it actually captured this many controls on the screen. So you can see this with your eyes also, right? There were too many controls which actually impacts the user experience. And then there was plenty of uploaded and downloaded data because there were tons of images which has to be loaded over here. So while you scroll, you can see there was loading happening. All the images comes with thumbnail, so that actually uploads and downloads data. And then there were nested layouts, and it captures the it consumes this much power, and there were 4 exceptions for this session. And here, if you come to this correctness session, you can see that in layout, it actually triggered a warning with saying that there were too many controls on the screen. So it gives us the activity which causes that issue. When you click on the screenshot, it actually gives you how many controls was there in your screen. So that is what it is shown over here. And then this is your original version. So you can see in this layout, it actually had this many controls, which is actually impacting the app's performance. And the value they give us call by default, and the value which is given to this activity is 157, which is higher than the threshold. And then there were nested layouts. So here you can see the issue. If you click on the issue, you can see this is a nested layout. Here you can see this nested layouts. So this is 19. So we can look into this. You can see this many layouts were there. It was a shopping application, I guess. So there were products, and it was having, they squeezed in all the products into one screen, and there were multiple nested components over here. So that is why it generated nested layout issues. So errors, you can see exceptions. So it triggered a null pointer exception when we tried to attempt this interaction. And it actually shows the activity. So it is easier for the developers to debug since it is giving us the specific activity which triggers the exceptions. So here you can see it was the initial splash screen. So the splash screen actually took more time. If we see like what we saw in the initial video. So here also it is same. There were a null pointer exception. The mapper returned null observable source, but the screen was okay. You can see the activity, so we can ask our developer to check the activity and see, ask them why it was triggering an exception over here, and there were no ANR reports generated. So that is good. So this was a complex application. So you could see all the control issues and other issues related to that. So now let me take you to, so this was, when it comes to iOS, I am actually having some issue with my iOS version. So it was not really capturing all the performance metrics. I think it is because of the profiling issue. So we go through this demo report first, and then we try one session and see how it performs. So here you can see it captures the same similar indexes which we discussed before. It captures the user experience, resource usage, and generates the same like Android. All the metrics are the same, and then it will highlight the issues, and also it will capture the CPU and other memory consumptions, and it will also capture the errors. For iOS, it will be mainly crashes, and you can also see the test environment details over here. And the same log, we can also see the logs over here. So let's see one session for my iOS. Cool, my iOS device is there. So this is my iOS device. I'm selecting my iPhone 6. Once I click on next, same like Android device, it will capture all the applications which is running over here. And then I'm selecting this Watson's MY application. It is not a staging version. I don't have a staging version. Maybe that's why the performance metrics are not fully captured. So we name it STT3. So in order to run a test using iOS, you need to use a Mac machine, and you need to have Xcode installed to have this performance profiling working. So if it is Mac machine, you can run tests for iOS and Android together. If it is Windows, you can run only for Android. Cool, my session started. You can see this app. I'm not logged in. I'm just clicking on category. I'm selecting this water 360. So here I felt like it was having a lag. So I want to take a note over there. So I click on take a note. So I think it's an idea. So I said add to cart functionality. seconds. Save this. Okay, I'm performing it again. So now it is not add to cart because the product was not there. I'm going back. Okay, let's select. All right, cool. So it's already a 2-minute session. So I'm ending this session now. Okay. Same as Android, you need to keep your device connected to USB.
Okay.
Okay, let's wait until it generates the report.
All right.
So with this, actually, we are able to understand how our app behaves, how it performs along with other applications, how the resource, when we share resources with other applications in real device, how our app really performs. So these all metrics actually gives us insights on those factors and will help us to take necessary business decisions according to that metrics.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, meanwhile, let me open my simulator. So now we saw how we run a test in Android real device and iOS real device. Let's see how we can run a test in Android simulator.
All right.
So let's keep this running in the background while it is being generated. Let me open my simulator first. I think because I'm running too many things in the background, it's taking longer.
Yeah. Your system might be saying, please pardon me.
Yeah, it is saying please pardon. Let me close this. I don't want that. Not sure why it is taking. All right, let's come back to this once it is generated. All right, my simulator is being opened. Once it is loaded, we can try to run a test in simulator also.
All right.
Let me close this and
I'm assuming when we have run this test on real devices, then we can ignore this Android simulator one if you want, and we can move ahead because it's running test on device is more difficult than
yep.
I would say, simulators.
Yeah, correct. So you don't want me to show that? It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
All right, so let's move on to the automation part then.
All right.
Thanks for saving my machine. All right, so let me give a walkthrough on the automation report first, and then we go how to set up and execute, and then we see that. So this is the report which is generated for a functional automated test along with Apptim. So here you can see it actually shows the Android market percentage and how many devices selected on these all versions, and then the screen density and the same list of matrices which we discussed before will also be available over here. And here you can see all the devices which we run the test against. So this CLI tool actually works against along with AWS device farm. So we need to set up our AWS device farm and we can run the test, the functional test along with the Apptim CLI tool against in the devices which is available in AWS device farm. So here you can see 3 test cases is passed. So it is basically Apptim test using TestNG and Java. So it is created for the same application which we demoed before. So the eCard application itself. So same thing, you can see it test, edit test, scroll view, and all those things, along with all the functional tests which is being executed in Appium Java. It actually captured the performance details as well. And then it captured the correctness details which we need to provide. You can see the nested layout issues similar to what we saw during manual tests. And also we can see the resource usage. So this is when it uses most of the resource, and we can share that details and make optimizations for that. And it actually consumed 36% of our battery. And there were 7 exceptions logged. So there was get package from app process which returned this error code and which happened on this activity. So same like other exceptions also we can see. And if you come to the dashboard, so these were the past test cases and there were 1 failed test cases over here. If you click on that, you can expand this test result and you can see setup APM was the one which triggered the error. When you expand, you can actually see the functional test error in detail. So WebDriver exception, it was triggered by WebDriver exception, and then there was a server-side error occurring in the processing the command. So alongside running your functional test in AWS device farm, it captures performance details also. So it reduces the effort. We don't want to do the performance test as a separate phase. We can do functional and performance test together. So that is one of the main attractions of using Apptim in mobile app performance testing. So now let's see how we can run this test in AWS device farm. So
Okay.
This is my AWS console. So in order to get the CLI tool, we need to, as of now, we need to request to the Apptim team to provide the setup. So once we request, they will be providing us with the setup. And there will be a config file where you need to set up your AWS console details and your Apptim's API key. So all the setup details will be provided by the team itself. And once we set up, I have this file. So this is the config file where I specify my sensitive information like AWS credentials and my Apptim's API key. So that is why I'm not opening it. So it includes all the sensitive information based on my profile. And then there is this main file which we use. So we don't need any complicated settings or something, same like what we did in the desktop. It is just a YML file configuration. So what we need is we need our app file, which will be specified along with this key. We need to provide the path of the app file where the app file is located in our local machine. And then our test file. So this is actually my Apptim demo test, which I zipped. Okay, so this is written in test-ng Apptim Java. So I just zipped the entire code, which is mapped to this key test file. And here we are saying our test runner is test-ng. We can also use JUnit test runner. And we can specify the timeout in minutes. I'm specifying it as 60 by default. And we have three different options over here. So we can select device based on our OS version. So if you specify OS as 9, it will run against one device which is having Android 9. So this script is for Android application. So it will be running against Android device. And if you are specifying the name, it will run against that device specific name. And then there is a third option, which is pool on. This pool ARN, we need to request to Apptim team to create for us. So in that pool ARN, we can specify what all are the devices which we need to run the test against. So in mine, I actually configured for 3 devices with 3 different OS versions. So this is my 3 device configuration. So first we can see how we can run this device form setup against this pool ARN. Okay, so the command to run this test is I kept my, so it is advisable to keep this configuration file separate and then keep this app file and the test file in a separate folder. And the command which we need to run is from the installation folder. It will be /device farm run /config and then this file's name. So once we do that, so you can see I told that the pool ARN for myself is set for 3 devices. You can see starting the test in 3 devices. And we will get the link to the specific report in AWS device farm from here. So let's open here. So here you can see Google Pixel 3 XL. One is OS 10 and I have OS 9 and also OS 11. So the tests are being executed in 2 devices at the same time. One is still in pending. So it will take approximately 8 minutes something to finish if you are waiting until to finish. So meanwhile, I can take you through one. So this was the test which I did just before our session. So This was for only one device, again Samsung Galaxy A70. So you can see the interactions which is happening in AWS device farm itself. So after our test, we can see the detailed video in device farm.
Mhm.
So the same application, it performed add to cart. So that was our test. And here we can see the test results. And when we come to our workspace, so I'm not my default workspace configuration is team workspace. So that is why all the reports are being pushed to team workspace itself. So this was the July 3rd, right? So this was the test which I did exactly for this one, the one which we saw in the video just now. So you can see there were 4 tests. Those 4 tests were passed.
Right.
So it went for filter category, selected a product, add to cart, and then check cart.
Mhm.
So also we can see other combination. So this was the one with 2 devices. So if you in this, if you specify these 2, if we are enabling this, so now we have these 2 keys specified, which says we need to run our test against a device with OS version 9, and we need to run our test against a device with name Samsung Galaxy A70. So if we are running the test with this mobile test.yml file, it will be running the same test in these 2 devices. So we can have as many devices based on our AWS configuration.
All right.
So yeah, this might take time in order to complete the test. So the other capabilities, if you could see here, you can see this. This is the documentation for the device farm configuration. So you can see device name. If you specify name and OS, it will go for the name and OS combination. If you specify only name, it will go for the name combination only. And then you can also specify the model. So it will look into our AWS device farm configuration. If the model is available, we will trigger the script against that. And also we can select the Apptim version which we need to run. We can specify that using this key. And also we can specify the Java version which we needed. If you select as 10, it will run against 10. If we select as 11, it will run against 11.
Okay.
So those are the advanced capabilities which is provided by Apptim. Yep, here we can see one of my tests failed. It's not completely loaded yet. Okay, once the third device also completes execution, it will push the report to our team workspace, and then we can see the report from here. So we don't want to check the AWS execution log. We can actually come to Apptim's workspace because it gives functional alongside the performance report. So we just need to check in one single report and evaluate the things.
All right.
Yep, basically that's it. Also, we can run this test locally if we are running a test session, and if we are running our test using one of the IDE. So while running the automated test, it will actually capture the performance metrics locally also using the desktop tool. So that is also one of the other options which we could have instead of running in cloud. So that is basically a bring your own device approach. We need to connect our device and we can run the automated test in our device itself while running Apptim in the background.
All right. All right. Okay.
Yep, yeah, that's it. So this may take some more time to finish. So basically the report will be same as we discussed just now.
All right. All right. So can we proceed with the Q&A session now?
Yes, Ajay. Yeah, let it run in the background. Once it is finished, we can go through the report maybe. Yeah.
Okay. So, Nithin, so we entered into an era of performance testing and we are applying it over mobile apps these days. So what
Yep.
kind of mistake developers are doing, which is leading towards poor performance of mobile app during these days?
Okay, so that's actually an interesting question, right? So when it comes to developers, so say there are iOS and Android developers basically. So they will be doing performance testing using iOS developers will be mostly using Xcode instruments, and
Mhm,
Android might be using profiler tools in Android Studio itself. So
mhm,
while running the test, actually they will be using simulators and emulators most probably, and they won't be getting that much comprehensive information in terms of real life scenarios.
mhm,
Okay,
mhm,
so like what we discussed in the initial strategy section, we need to simulate the real life instances and see how our app behaves with other applications when it comes to shared resources.
mhm.
So most of the time, I would say maybe like some of the developers, not all the developers, might be missing focus on those areas. While they are putting more effort on the functional aspects, they
Mhm.
might miss few of the aspects regarding to the performance side.
Right.
So that is one of the main challenge which we have. So if we are collaborating together as a team where like testers and developers are focusing more on performance side also, it will give much more important value. So we can work alongside with the developers and we can share the performance test which is more comprehensive and which gives them more like if we are giving with more detailed information, it is easier for them to test or them to debug.
All right. All
And
right.
and one more challenge I could highlight is when it comes to UI level or user experience, developers like they will be following a specific UI which is provided by the designers, right? And they
Mhm.
will be integrating that into their components. So they won't be checking for that much nested layouts or that many like UI components. If you are squeezing in many UI components in one single screen, it
Mhm.
actually impacts the performance.
All right. All right.
Yeah. So those are the things which we can say the developers also sometimes misses, and
Okay.
they need to take care.
All right. All right. Got it. Okay. Coming to next question. As there are multiple devices, or I could say huge number of devices available in the market,
Mhm.
how do we make sure or measure if the performance of mobile app is perfectly running fine on all those devices or not?
Okay, so to be frank with that, we cannot ensure that we can completely do exhaustive testing in all the
Mhm.
devices, right? It is
Right.
impossible.
Right.
So what we can do is a data-driven approach. So we
Mhm.
can get details about our user base. So
Mhm.
considering our user base, which OS version is we are having user base on mostly on which OS version,
Mhm.
and what all are the devices which is commonly used by our users. So
Right.
we can get that data, and mostly the performance test should be focused mainly on those devices. So we need to segregate in terms of data.
Mhm.
So
All
if
right.
we are ensuring our majority of our users are satisfied with the user experience, then yeah, we are good.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Fine. So, what performance metrics we should care about while dealing with performance of mobile app?
The important thing will be like we need to measure the memory consumption,
Mm-hmm.
also the battery usage, and also we need to consider the network aspects of our application. So like what we saw, we need to ensure that the rendering time is proper and the latency, bandwidth, how our app behaves when there is a low network coverage, how it behaves in the background, how much time it takes for startup, and
Mm-hmm.
all those metrics we need to consider as part of performance tests for mobile applications.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Coming to next question. So, why mobile testing is critical for businesses today?
Mhm. Why?
Yeah, why mobile testing is critical for running businesses today? Uh, so could you just help me in answering this?
Yeah, sure. So why? Because like most of the businesses are trying to get more user attention nowadays, right? And with this new normal things after the COVID pandemic, most of the businesses are trying to get everything online. And
Right.
more, mainly the user base is in mobile because we won't be browsing for something in laptop all the time. People will be using mostly mobiles, right? So that is why we have significant importance of mobile applications. And
Mm-hmm.
in order to provide a seamless user experience,
Mm-hmm.
as testers, we need to ensure that we are meeting users' expectations
Right.
when it comes to mobile applications. Like there are many competitors out there. So when we are launching an application, there will be 3 or 4 applications which is competing us. So if
Mm-hmm.
we are bad in terms of performance,
Mm-hmm.
we will eventually lose our user base.
Right. That's absolutely correct. Right. Coming to facing challenges during testing mobile applications. So what are the common challenges testers are facing these days for performing mobile application testing?
Okay, so the one important challenge is, as we saw just now in the report, there are tons of metrics, right?
Right.
So most of the time, what could happen is we miss out the concepts. So we don't understand what really a metrics means and how
Mm-hmm.
important is it in terms of our business functionalities.
Mm-hmm.
So if we focus on this, if we are getting 10 metrics in place and we are focusing on 10 at a time, sometimes we couldn't improve because we are focusing on 10 different things at the same time, right? So we need
Mm-hmm.
to prioritize which metrics we need to take care of first.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are setting a priority for that,
Mm-hmm.
and then that is easy for us. So most of the time testers, what happens is they lack this business and metrics mapping.
Mm-hmm.
So if we could identify the exact mapping with our business needs,
Mm-hmm.
uh, then we can rectify the challenge.
All right. That's correct. That's correct. Okay. And what should be a particular performance test plan look like for a mobile application?
Okay, so we should have this. You remember one of the slides which we explained? We were discussing about test strategy for performance test, right? So all the components which we had over
Right.
there, like objectives, and we should set up the benchmarks which we expect, and we should also have the business critical functionalities, and how much performance are we expecting in terms of those. Like if when it comes to an e-commerce application, one of the business critical functionality will be the checkout process, right? if if
Mm-hmm.
we are not focusing on that checkout process, eventually we will lose a user making a transaction. Imagine I am purchasing something from Amazon, and the Amazon website is like Amazon application is keep on loading while I'm performing the transaction. I won't continue with the purchase because it's not giving me enough confidence to continue with the purchase, right?
Right.
So
Right.
uh, so identifying the business critical functionality is a main part of our performance test plan. And then we need to discuss in terms of our architecture. If we don't understand the architecture as a whole, then even if we are doing client side performance testing or server side performance testing, we won't be
Mhm.
having that much more information. Like some of the client side matrices are also depending on the server side matrices. So we need to understand how these interactions work, how the API calls works, how the architecture works, and that has to be also included in the performance test plan.
All right, all right. These are critical points. That's true.
Yep.
Okay. Coming to next question. When we talk about Apptim, so how does this tool is making difference in measuring mobile app performance, comparing with other tools available in the market?
Okay, so Apptim, the important like advantage is previously like what I said, we need to use different tools for multiple platforms. Basically, for iOS application, we need to use Xcode instruments, and Android, we need to use Android specific tools, right? So when it comes to Apptim, what they give is it is one single platform which where we can run our Android app testing, where we can perform our Android app testing and iOS app testing. And another advantage is, so basically the time consumed is same. While we are doing functional tests, it actually captures the performance metrics. So we are just doing the functional test, but we are getting the performance reports as well. So we can say it is 2x efficiency maybe. And also the reports, it is not only like minimal reports, right? It is more comprehensive, and it comes with more detailed logs and points of improvements. So we can just provide that information to our developers, and they just need to go through the report once. So in my personal experience, we used Apptim before in Fail. So it was much more easy for our developers to fix the memory related issues and the crashes which we had for the application when we were testing using Apptim.
All right, all right. Yeah, that's a significant thing, and that's really helpful for dev people around. Okay. Uh, Coming to next question. So, what skill should today's testers should have?
Okay, so testers, like what we see before, also like the main skills, it actually we should be able to communicate well. We should be able to think critically, and we should be creative enough to perform tests.
Mhm.
And also yeah, we should be able to highlight the risk properly to the respective stakeholders in appropriate time. So
Mhm.
that should be the skills in terms of general. And then when it comes to technical skills, actually maybe like we can focus on one or two programming languages, get good amount of knowledge in one or two programming languages. I'm not saying we are going for multiple languages. So we need to get hands-on experience in at least one language. So if we are having one language, at least a hands-on experience, we can leverage that into multiple languages, and we can use it to work with multiple technologies actually. And yeah, since there are plenty of things out there in the market, maybe focusing is one more critical skill set which we need to do. We need to focus on the specific things which could actually help us.
All right, that's correct. Uh, awesome. Coming to next question, and that would be our last one from you, Nitin. So, your
Mhm.
words of wisdom for today's tester.
Word for wisdom. Okay. uh, get ready to learn,
Mhm.
unlearn, and relearn. So always we need to keep on learning, because uh, technologies evolve every day. So we need to learn. And then why I said unlearn is because so we have to be ready to make changes to our behavior and what all things we learned.
Right,
Sometimes what we learned might change a due course of its time, right? So we need
right.
to be prepared to unlearn, and some things we might forget. So in this session also we went through a lot of things. So
Right.
after a while we might miss few things. So we need to keep relearning things. If we are missing out few points, can refer again and
Mhm.
try to understand that. So that is why if you would ask me, the words of wisdom will be learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Awesome, Nitin. Awesome. All right, Nitin. So Nitin, we have reached to closure of this wonderful session presented by you on Apptim, which is a performance testing tool for mobile apps available in the market. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up this session?
Like give importance, like performance was not really, client side performance was not much discussed in testing arena. So since we are getting more importance of mobile applications and web applications also, try to understand more performance concepts, and maybe try to integrate these approaches or have a performance driven mindset of QA, quality analysis. So that will be much more needed in the coming future. So yeah,
All,
that will be my closing words.
all right, all right. Nitin, anything else has been left on your screen, like what we are looking forward for?
And yeah, the test is not finished. Let me see. Yeah, it was just the test which we were running. I can stop that.
All right, all right. So we have completed everything.
Yeah, we have covered everything.
All right, Nitin. So thanks, Nitin, for joining us over STAT and sharing your knowledge based on your experience in your tenure in IT industry so far. And this was really a deep dive session into Apptim, where even I have learned a lot of things from you here. And of course, I assume our audience will learn a lot of things from this session, and will try to enter into performance testing and can try using this tool as well. And we would be expecting more such deep dive sessions from you in upcoming days as well. We wish you all the best for upcoming projects on which you are working on, and thanks for being part of our estate journey.
Thank you so much, Ajay. Thank you so much for being a wonderful host.
Thank you.